Today's upload and share is just with regard to a few factors that have been highlighted for me as a consequence of the collective vendetta of hate crime. It's 2021. I'm a mature adult, I'm a qualified adult, and the individuals that are causing these problems are mature, qualified adults also. The unfortunate aspect of all of this situation of hate crime when it occurs in any society is that it really exposes and highlights people's feelings and any agents or pillars of society's feelings. So, as I've mentioned throughout all my uploads, my experiences have been of human rights abuses and my experience of my constitutional rights being violated and my royal hereditary being violated and my property being trespassed upon. In this upload, I'm just going to share with regard to the insulting tactics of individuals guilty of revenge porn from 2006 violating protection laws. There have been grown adults that have caused quite a controversy and quite a stir with regard to their measures in avoiding the damages they've been causing for the past 15 years. It's a bit more serious when a child is harmed, and that child they harmed was my child. The matter that is insulting for these individuals that are also professionals is that they have resorted to tactics that are quite unsavory. It doesn't exemplify good practice or professionalism when really qualified individuals compromise their position and their credibility with very unsubstantiated, irrational opinions. What I'm raising here is the perspective of a woman that has travelled and that has lived in many regions and areas, and the issue of privacy and information of a personal experience. My personal experience has been exposed. My privacy has been exposed. The people that have discussed my privacy had no authority or they had no consent. They breached confidentiality and they came to spurious conclusions that are highly inaccurate. Now, how many students just qualified from university travel to another country to seek work and employment, to be met with zero opportunity? Does that make that person a loafer and a bum? Does it? It does not. So the issue of individuals making irrational opinions because a person is unemployed and not respecting the reality of the experience of individuals of creative and intellectual property and professional property and damages to a mother and child. Being a mother is a profession, a role. And there are individuals that have lowered themselves to the lowest assertions and efforts of opinion regarding a person's personal experience that they shouldn't have ever even been discussing or publicising or exposing as they have done in my situation. So these people have been really, really disrespectful with regard to the role of information. They've been very careless with regard to the role of information and how information is used. But with regard to intelligence, Gardner decided long ago there are 7 types of intelligence. And some people are really disrespecting the role of intelligence. And when they did that, when they lowered themselves to insults and poor assertions and opinions, it doesn't really help a person in their credibility levels. So as I've mentioned, the issue then of practitioners' assertions of forgetfulness, short memory. This didn't happen. We did not hear from this woman in 2017. She is a patient of this establishment. She is suffering from that, but really not really, no. So instead we're going to say that she suffers from memory loss and dementia and amnesia. That's a very dangerous insult to psychiatry and women's mental health. So these are the kind of tactics that I'm confronted with when people aren't confronting their damages and damages, harms and losses they've caused my child and I. That's avoidance tactic. And the individuals that are reared by parents that support these kind of offences doesn't set a good example to young children. The other matter I'm going to raise with regard to these people that have arrived at a very poor conclusion to their spurious assumptions about a person they don't know, but that they have slandered and defamed and stolen from and trespassed upon and imposed upon, is the issue of the standard of regulations. So when there are any transactions, be it of initiatives, be it of research, some people are quite cheeky without actually having consultation with a person. So that lowers the standards of regulations that they're to be practicing. And that has happened in this situation as well. So as I mentioned yesterday, I'm a property owner. I'm experiencing deprivation because of people stealing from my family and I. Stealing from my wealth and fortune. But worst of all, damaging sacred light and claiming to be in ownership of it. Violating my privacy, damaging my bodily anatomy. These are things that are violating regulations. So people are quite cheeky. And they aren't very amusing to people with integrity. So as a professional educator, and those hiding behind very dangerous offences are really risking a lot more than just innocent life. And they have damaged innocent life already, and that's quite serious for repeat offenders to be exacerbating. For the 3 years that my child has been away from me, unlawfully as a missing person, the harms he has experienced isn't an experience any mother should be experiencing for her child, or neither should her child be ever experiencing the loss of his mother unlawfully because of land grabbers or cradle snatchers or gold diggers. Because that is the circumstance in this situation. It's really repulsive. And it's really, really inconsiderate and rude when individuals that have no experience of what they're saying or doing derive conclusions that are not really accurate or logical. And when there is an issue of people discussing other person's belongings, property, rights, entitlements, wealth, etc., that doesn't help the situation either. So there's been a lot of insults and injuries with regard to poor professionalism and when the legalities of situations haven't been respected. And these are just a few aspects that I'm adding to the issue of hate crime when it occurs in a society. As I've mentioned, there's been isolation, withholding correspondence, disinformation in the form of slander and alteration of facts without any experience of memory loss or dementia occurring. So that's really dangerous for psychiatry and for mental health practitioners and the mental health establishments. It's very dangerous when people lower themselves to those kind of poor tactics. So those that think that they're going to steal from another person's experience, qualifications, fortunes, achievements, etc., with these kind of tactics at play, they're not setting a very good positive professional standard, and they're not setting a very good example to young children for future endeavours. So precious as life and light and land is, the point that is of relevance is the importance of integrity, dignity and honesty as the United Nations espouses. United Nations espouses. So I hope the United Nations is aware of what I'm experiencing in Tralee County Kerry. And as a European citizen, the individuals of publicity that have not been of good professional standards are setting a poor reflection with the mentality of begrudgery that is from the 1800s. So as we're in 2021, I hope everyone is progressive with positive professionalism.